Hey, what's up? This is the second video in Flutter tic-tac-toe tutorials, and today I'm gonna talk about how to display push notifications with the Firebase cloud messaging. I didn't call it tic-tac-toe part 2 just because in this video I'm gonna talk only about push notifications, and this video could be just a standalone tutorial for push notifications with Flutter. Now just a little recap of what I did in the previous video. Here is a single mode with AI. Alright, I won, nice. And now we're gonna start building multiplayer with Firebase. I've built an Android tic-tac-toe before with Firebase, so I have a backend, like small backend with cloud functions, which I'm gonna use. So what we're gonna have is a list of signed up users, and for each user we're gonna store a FCM token. Using this token you can send a message to this user, a push notification. So first of all you need to register yourself with the Firebase to get this token and save this token to the Firebase. What we're gonna do today is just to learn how to retrieve this token from both iOS and Android. If you worked with Firebase cloud messaging, that's great, it's a big bonus, but if you didn't, you'll learn a lot today. And as I'm basically learning Flutter just before I'm recording videos and creating blog posts, I'm gonna have some kind of opinions about Flutter framework, Dart language, and I'm just gonna share my opinions about because I think you don't wanna listen to some robot who's just giving you some dry information and without opinions. And the first thing I want to talk about is platform differences. The difference between iOS and Android, of course. You might think that it's all the same, it's just phones which are just hosting your apps for users. But especially if you've never had an iPhone or Android. But I expect most of you are Android developers, but it doesn't matter. So iOS is way more restrictive than Android. Android is kind of like catching up, starting from Marshmallow, but still got a long way to go. Here are just a few things that I think you'll find interesting. On iOS, you need to ask for runtime permission for displaying push notifications. On Android, you don't even need to declare it in the manifest, it's there by default. Also on iOS, you cannot run any background services, and starting from Nougat, I think they started to apply some of those principles, but still Android is way more forgiving and free than iOS. So why am I saying that? Is that if you wanna write mobile apps in Flutter, you're not gonna be a Flutter developer. You're gonna be an iOS/Android developer who's writing mobile apps using Flutter framework. It's because Flutter does not give you the full abstraction or platforms. You still need to interact with the native platforms and understand at least somehow how they work. And after all, if you don't have a Mac, you basically cannot even build iOS apps unless you have a virtual machine and running macOS on your Windows. And yeah, you need an iPhone as well, because testing apps on simulator just sucks. It does not give you the experience that your users are gonna have. And if you just decide to ignore that and say that I don't care about that, what you will end up with is just ignoring all the iOS setups in the future, just basically writing Android apps in Flutter. And then after you've built your apps and you say like, alright, I wanna publish this app and let's test it on iOS. You build it for iOS, your builds fail, and you face 10 years of pain and suffering and regret that you didn't test iOS in time with Android. Right, I hope that motivated you to get a Mac or iPhone. Yeah, I mean, Flutter is great, but you need to consider this. You're gonna face with twice the number of bugs as if you were developing just native Android apps. Since I said that it's gonna be just a push notification tutorial, we're gonna create a new app from scratch just for the purpose of push notifications. Let's call it Flutter. Alright, and again, I hope I motivated you to get the second platform, because you're not just building Android apps or iOS apps. You're building cross-platform, and you need to test and and get the hang of every platform just to see how it works. Just gonna delete all this crap. And what I'm gonna do is first show you how to set up Android cloud messaging and set up iOS messaging. Let's go to Firebase console, create a new project. Android setup is much easier than iOS. Right, let's go to what do I need to do? Yeah, just add Android. Go to Android, app, source, manifest, and copy your app ID, which is the same as package. Register, download Google services, paste them in app directory. Name should be Google services.json. Alright, now what we have next is copy this Google Services Gradle plugin into project, build.gradle. The next, you don't need this for now because we're just gonna use Firebase cloud messaging. This line should be as the last one, and apps module is in here in the app, this one, and that's it. Yes, now we're done with Android mostly, and what I need is a Flutter dependency. In popspec.yml you have your dependencies. Gonna add Firebase messaging, and the latest version is 0.2.1. Run this package get. I think you don't even need to run that. It's called run automatically when you install the app. What I don't like about Dart is right now it doesn't give you the suggestions when you're typing, suggestions for imports. Let me show you. For example, what I mean. I need a Firebase messaging, you see, and it does not give you the suggestion without you pre-importing this package. Kind of feels like JavaScript, which is Dart is actually much closer to JavaScript than Java. So you just import one file, and here you have a, let me install this app first. Alright, here it is, the basic template. So in homepage state we're gonna put our code to retrieve a FCM token. Firebase messaging underscore for private variable, and you instantiate it in init state, which I don't quite understand the use of this lifecycle function, but I'm not focused on Flutter framework right now so much. Configure, and here you provide 3 listeners. Let me open the package readme, which explains those callbacks. So in FCM there is 2 types of notifications, just notification and data message. Data message does not display the push notification by default. Notification does. And let's see in different cases and platforms what's gonna happen. So if app is in foreground, in all cases you're not gonna have a push notification on top, you're just gonna have a callback on message, which you declare here. If app is in background, if you send a notification to Android, you're gonna have a push notification, and on resume listener is gonna get called when the user clicks on a notification. This is the callback, right? On iOS, the same, on resume. In case of data message, you're gonna have on message while apps stays in the background. So you're gonna have on message without push notification, and it's up to you to do whatever you want. On iOS, you're not even gonna have a on message callback. It's gonna get called only after users open the app. So you see, you need to consider that. Right, let's go to the terminated case, when you don't even have an app in this stack. In case of a notification on Android, notification is delivered to the system tray, meaning that there is going to be a push notification, and when user clicks on a notification on launch, listener is going to get called. Here it is on launch. In case of iOS, it's displayed, push notification is displayed, and the same on launch. In case of data message, it's not even handled, so message is lost, you see. But on native Android, I'm pretty sure that it does work, data notification in case of app terminated, because I used to handle all notifications by myself, displaying them. And in case of data message on iOS, if app is terminated, this message is gonna get stored, and you're gonna have on message when app is brought to life. So the question is, which is the most reliable way of displaying push notifications? It's the notification type. Data, as you see, you cannot rely because of many things. Right, let's declare our handlers. And what I don't like about writing Dart code is that you don't see the autocomplete for lambdas, so you need to figure out yourself. The input variable is a map of strings to dynamic, which is like kind of object in Java, and you declare them this way. Let's copy that on resume, on launch, the same stuff. To log stuff out in Flutter, you have a print function. Let's just print this message. And what this map is gonna have is a data stuff from the notification, not the body and title, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna explain that later if you don't know. And now I'm gonna show you how to retrieve a token. That's a FCM token, so that you can send a notification to particular user. That's gonna be a token of this device. And that's it for Android. Let's run it. Alright, here it is. I've already retrieved a token. It just took me 1.5 seconds, pretty quick. And actually, I don't even need this token now. Let me show you how to send notifications via Firebase console. Let's go here to grow notifications and send some stuff. Well, yeah, let's use this token. And here it is, the callback. I should have printed on message. Let me do that. Here's the updated code. This callback is getting called on message, and no push notification is displayed by default. Now let's close the app and try it again. Just duplicate it and resend. Here's my push notification. When I click on it, the launcher app is getting called, which is this one, home page. Let me add some data stuff. This is the way that you add a data information for your notifications. So here's the message, and you can have a notification object and data object. Notification has a title body, which is automatically displayed over there, and the data object, which is a map in Dart, is gonna be handled by you over here. This code is not used, I'm just showing you how the payload looks in FCM. Right, and send. And here it is on message, because my app was in foreground, and here is the map key value, which I sent from the console. And now let's shut down the app. And as you see, nor on resume nor on launch is getting called, which it should, but on Android you need to include this intent filter to your manifest activity. In order for retrieve on resume and on launch callbacks. And in your data message you need to send this value: click action, Flutter notification click. In the console you can do this again this way. Send it. Alright, and now you see here is the on resume callback. So those two steps are required for. And now that I've discussed the basic setup for Android and the differences between two types of FCM notifications, and how to send and display basic notifications, I didn't figure out yet how to create notifications yourself. For example, if you want quick actions like type some text or click a button yet, but it's probably possible digging into the packages and libraries and figuring out yourself how they display notifications. Now I'm gonna switch to Mac and explain how to set up iOS. Alright, here is my Mac. First I'm gonna go and add an iOS app to our Firebase project. Here they ask for bundle ID. I'm gonna open Xcode, because bundle ID some Y looks differently. It's camel cased or something. Open the iOS directory, and you could check it in here. That's the bundle ID. God damn it. Paste, register, download the Google services file, and here's one important thing: you need to paste it in Xcode. So have your Xcode opened and paste it into this directory in Xcode, because if you paste it just in the File Explorer, it's not gonna configure it right, and there is some configuration which I don't understand because I'm not an iOS developer. Just paste it in here. I don't know what it wants from me. So it should be here, and there is some other configuration handled by Xcode. Continue. This we don't need because we're not gonna use Firebase yet. And I think we're done with console. The next step is you gotta open Xcode and have your automatically manage sign-in checkbox checked and select your team. So that, oops, and one more thing, in capabilities, since we're gonna use push notifications, turn notifications on, and then I'm gonna go back to general. Is it done? Yeah, right. And then in sign-in I have automatic managed sign-in, which helps me a lot because it saves me from lots of work, and which creates a profile or something. Alright, go to developer.apple.com, certificates, IDs and profiles, keys all, add new, now some description. Select APNs, because we're using it. Next, alright. Done. Copy this key ID and go straight back to Firebase. In settings, over here, project settings, cloud messaging. Go to iOS part where it says APN's authentication key, click upload, paste the key ID. Alright, where we were, let's go put it here. Click download. Now go back to Firebase, browse for this newly downloaded file. Is it the latest one? I think this one. And also you need a app ID prefix. You can retrieve it from developer.apple.com in identifiers, app IDs, and look for the package that we are using. Flutter push notifications, and here's my prefix. Copy it, go back to console, paste, upload. It's the third time I'm doing it, and finally I think I'm getting the hang of it. It's way more complex than with Android, as you see. Right now I think we're actually done, and you can build your app from Xcode if you like. Just gonna try because it's better for debugging purposes. It gives a better login output. And now that we've built successfully our app, we can shut down Xcode and work with Android Studio. Alright, here's our app running on iPhone simulator. My MacBook is going to explode, I think, right now. But there are a few things remaining for iOS setup. Again, as I said, on iOS you need to request for push notification permission, runtime permission. At least you don't need to declare it somewhere in manifest. And I'm gonna call it in init state. Over here. Paste. Request for notification permission, run it. Alright, here it is. It asks for notification permission, allow. It actually says that push notifications are not supported on simulators, on iOS simulators, so I guess I'm gonna record my iPhone. FCM token, and let's send a notification to this phone. Right, here it is on message callback. with some of the data that... Right, because the app was in foreground, let's close it and send it again. Actually, just duplicate the previous. Right, here's my notification, open it up, and here's the onResume callback. As you see on iOS, you don't need to add that stuff that we did in the notification data, and there's no manifest. So on iOS it's easier with the onResume on launch callbacks. And you'd expect the same, but on terminated. When the app is terminated, on launch callback is gonna get called, and yeah, it wraps it for iOS setup. As you see, it was more steps than on Android, but you gotta go through it. Right now I'm gonna switch back to my Windows, and now that we know how to set both Android and iOS for push notifications and send them from Firebase console, they are displayed automatically. And if you wanna send push notifications without using Firebase console, you can do that via this endpoint using the default Flutter networking library. I'm gonna wrap it up, and in the next video I'm gonna start creating a multiplayer with Firebase, now that we know how to send push notifications in Flutter. Hope you found it useful. Click like if you liked it, subscribe. I'll talk to you later.